Hello, my name is Jamini Samaratanga. I'm a quantum transformation and embodiment coach. I help business leaders and social leaders transform stress into vitality, pain into purpose, painful, limiting, negative, blocking energies into inspiring business ideas and inspiring social development ideas. Welcome to the number 2 knowledge sharing session of NLP for Success video series. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistics Programming. I have studied NLP more than 20 years ago, and NLP is part of my life. NLP has transformed every aspect of my life over the years. Mental, physical, emotional, social, financial, spiritual. Pretty much every area of my life was positively affected by NLP. Therefore, I kept teaching and coaching NLP. Along with NLP, I also have studied many other subjects related to mind, body, and soul. I have practiced meditation more than 30 years in my life. Also, energy healing modalities like Reiki, and a latest addition to my skill portfolio is Qigong. All in all, the NLP that I teach is quantum NLP. My vision in life is to add value to life, every moment and in every breath that I'm taking when I'm living. And I choose to do that through a 3-step strategy that is enabling, empowering, and enlightening whoever come into contact with my life, with me. So, once again, I'd like to welcome you to the number 2 knowledge sharing session of this video series I call as NLP for Success. And in today's session, I want to share with you a very powerful tool for goal setting that we teach in the subject of NLP. This process is called well-formed outcome. It's a process in NLP, and it has 9 questions. So essentially it's a 9-step process. I'll be taking you through this process by asking you specific questions about the dreams, aspirations, goals, and objectives you hold for yourself in your life. As human beings, we always want to move forward. There is this natural force, tendency, and a desire for us to feel better in life, do better in life, think better in life, and experience life in many better ways. It's a natural need as human beings. So, knowingly or not knowingly, sometimes we set goals in our lives. We start working towards a particular direction. And sometimes we come out in that journey, we end that journey of achievement with success after accomplishing what exactly we wanted to accomplish. And sometimes we do not accomplish the goals that we intended to achieve in the same way we expected it to be. we don't call this as a failure. In the subject of NLP, there's a powerful belief that we choose to believe before we start setting any goal using any special technique. That belief is, there is no failure, there's only feedback. When you start believing that you are achieving something important in life, even when it seems like you are failing, then you are an achiever. Every time we do not get the results we want, there's always a learning experience. So there was never a loss. You are still gaining something. In my life, I quite often say that I know very well how to win because I'm always ready to lose. I'm open and willing to do it over and over and over again. I really believe those who really win in life are the ones who know how to fail or lose well. Because every time when you have a so-called failing experience or losing experience, you are learning something important about yourself. Don't you? Haven't you? I'm sure you can relate to this statement, isn't it? We have learned a whole lot of new things about ourselves. Life, universe, existence. Some greater truths in our lives would have come to us in those moments where we thought we failed. Interestingly and ironically, in the next level, at that next level, you are a different person. And you're bound to achieve much more easily and effortlessly when you go with this kind of a belief and this kind of attitude towards life. So I welcome you to borrow that belief system from me, from this interesting subject called NLP, and install that belief into your life, into your system. Embrace that into your mind, into your heart, and into your body, and see how things go. So let's get into today's discussion. We are going to talk about the famous well-formed outcome process that we teach in the subject of NLP when it comes to goal setting. It's a 9-step process. Essentially, it is a set of questions that help you think in a particular way and find answers within you. Right? So let's get started with the first question. So the first question is, what specifically do you want? That's right. So most of the time when we look at the people who have not accomplished something significant in their life, people who feel they are like a failure, they haven't achieved much and they don't feel they are good enough. If you look at such people and carefully observe, the main reason why they have created a reality like that in their life is because most often they have not figured out what specifically they wanted to experience in their life. So life was essentially happening to them. Whereas if you observe and study those people who declare, also who demonstrate, and who believe that they are living a successful, happy, fulfilled, content life, if not all areas of life, but at least few areas of their life, they feel they are successful, you would notice that these people are having a clear idea about what they want to experience in their life. Most often, you might even find that they are having a clear mental image about their desired outcomes, a vision very clearly articulated in their mind that they hold true and they hold dearly in their lives. Now, being able to answer this question, what specifically do I want to experience in my life? What specifically do I want to accomplish within a given time frame in a particular aspect of my life is a real game changer. Most people get into action. Most people get into action. Most people get into quick action. They want to act. And they would act out of fear, out of lack and limitation. And therefore, they end up having subpar results. However, as a coach, especially during the last 14 plus years, during my practice, I've observed those successful business leaders and social leaders, even simply housewives, essentially my clients, the ones who always accomplished great success after coaching intervention were the ones who took time to reflect on this question. They took time. They did not rush into taking action. Very few we find who would take inspired action out of sheer inspiration. So it is more an intuitive decision. Compared to a decision to act based on fear, lack and limitation, a decision to act even spontaneously, quickly, out of inspiration, out of a vision, out of a deep desire and hope for positive results is much better. So, the first question you've got to answer is what specifically do I want? What specifically? Now, during coaching sessions, when we ask this question from coaching clients, people generally, especially those clients, when we ask this question during a coaching session, some clients, especially those clients who feel really stuck in their current life situation, give an answer. When we ask this question from certain clients during our coaching practice, some clients who specifically feeling really stuck and suffering in a particular life situation cannot really articulate a specific answer to this question. They usually answer out of fear, lack and limitation, and while their attention focused on what's going on, they are not necessarily inspired for a positive outcome. They are actually motivated to stay away from current pain. These kind of clients, when this question is asked, respond more generally. They don't give answers specifically. But what you have to do is to give a specific answer. But we understand that not everyone is having that capacity, mental capacity, emotional capacity, spiritual capacity, that self-awareness to be able to answer this question specifically. So in those situations, we encourage people to start answering with a generic answer or a general answer. And then we slowly guide them towards finding the specific details about what they want to experience in their life. So let me recap. The first question of the NLP process for goal setting, which is called wellform.com, is what specifically do I want to achieve? What specifically do I want to experience? You can answer this question generally about your life for a particular time frame that you have in your mind, or you can answer this question thinking about a specific area of your life which you love to see improvements, enhancements. And considering a situation where you cannot find a specific answer, such answer is not coming through you, please note that it happens because you are way too identified with a current painful scenario in your mind. Therefore, your motivation is to stay away from that pain rather than working towards a positive outcome, towards an inspired direction in life. We recommend people to select the second approach when goal setting. That is to set a goal towards an inspired direction. Because the moment you start setting a goal while being associated with the present problem situation, there's a chance that you will repeat same old mistakes and reaffirm to yourself that you can't make it happen, that you are a failure, that you're not going to get it right. So this is why we encourage people to first check where their focus of attention is, that they answer this kind of question, and really take time, take a break, take a little holiday, a vacation, time to think and reflect, and then find answers without just rushing into action. I remember around 15 years ago when I officially learned this tool or technique in an international forum. I never had a goal for my life. In fact, I went to learn NLP because I was a lost soul. At an early age, I have accomplished so much in my life. At the same time, I was going through a massive depression. Every area of my life was essentially collapsing, and I could not even believe that it was happening to me. So I started learning NLP in a background like that. So I was essentially inspired, if at all, or motivated to get out of my pain. But the decision to invest time, money, energy to learn NLP came from actually pain. But I was inspired to find my life purpose. So I remember the very first day, very first moment when I first learned this tool, technique, and I wanted to find an answer to the question number 1 of the process. I was stuck. Now, I want you to know a little bit about me. By that time, I was a real achiever, academically and in terms of professionally, as in I just started my career just after the university. I was a super achiever, and I always knew what I wanted. I was in a relationship that I wanted at that time. With all that, when I started learning NLP and wanted to reset my life because of this depressive episode, And when I wanted to find answers as to what I want in my life, I didn't have answers. I remember just holding my pen and paper and just waiting in the class, not being able to answer. So my teacher came and she saw that I'm stuck. And she said, yeah, just pick something from thin air. That's exactly the words she told me. She said, just pick something from thin air. Now, I did not even know what it meant. But in that very moment, facilitated by my coach, by my trainer, by my teacher, something happened. From somewhere, this idea of becoming a coach came to my mind. Because at that time in my life, I was in deep pain and I did not know anyone who could help me. It was almost like a journey of me finding the answers within me. So now that I know the pain, why don't I do something about it? Because there must be so many people out there having the same pain that I'm going through, or perhaps even much worse situations. So the very pain came into a purpose. The mud transformed into a beautiful lotus. So the long story short, I ended up writing a well-formed outcome sheet to become a coach in 3 years' time. Guess what? I started my own company in Sri Lanka and started my own coaching practice. And in fact, I was the pioneer here. There were counselors in our country at that time, but not coaches, and especially not NLP coaches. So I essentially became that first NLP coach in the country. And I started my own empire, so to say. I pioneered many other coaching modalities using NLP thereafter and helped thousands of people over the years. So now you can reconfirm to you why you need to listen to the rest of this video, why you need to stay with me and learn the rest of the tool. You're ready for that? Alright, let's get going. So the number 2 question is, now that you know, you have a general idea, or you have a specific idea about what specifically you want to achieve in your life in general, or about a specific area of your life, it's time for you to now find out what is currently within your control that you can do to obtain this. So this is about actually doing a little reality check. In the first question, we dream. And the second question, we are going to get our feet fully grounded on earth. We are going to face the reality, so to say, and come into terms with it. Because in every life situation, especially when you are facing a challenging or a difficult situation, in the process of achieving something, because as humans we always want to do better, but imagine a situation you keep failing and your attention is focused on the failure. You cannot progress. However, it is happening. You're not living in denial. You gotta face it. So in such situations, there are things that we got to really understand and come into terms with, as in that there are things that is going out of my control. I really can't do anything about it. Let's say the economic condition, a social condition, even a particular physical condition that you may be in a given time. You can't forcefully control it, although you would love to do that. So it is important you find out those areas or variables that is within your control that you can do to obtain your goal. Say for an example, you set a goal about money, a certain amount of money you want to accomplish within a given time frame, and you look at the current economic condition. You look at your present skills and capabilities, your ability to spend time and energy. When you carefully do an audit about the capabilities and present situation, you will know what exactly within your control and what is not within your control. So we do not put any energy to control what we cannot control. We will focus on those variables that we can control. For an example, what's happening in your mind is something that you can control. It's within your control. Maybe because you can control what's happening in your mind, you can find time to focus on your projects. You can find time to learn a new skill. You can find time to heal yourself. You can find time and energy to control your diet as to what you eat, what you consume, because it can affect your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Maybe you are in a situation where you can transform your current relationships with others, either staying away from certain people and situations, or you have the capacity to connect with different set of people and situations. For an example, I remember when things were not going right in my life, and when in those moments I was feeling that I'm falling apart, the first thing I would do is to go and connect with Mother Nature. I used to do a lot of wildlife tours. I used to do hikes. I traveled into wilderness, and I spent time in nature. If I can't travel out of my town and to a faraway, remote, beautiful forest or beautiful resort, I still will find time and energy to do a long walk to a nearby park in town and to keep my bare foot on the ground. And it feels so good to see beautiful, colorful flowers, face the sun and feel the warmth of the sun on my skin. Go and embrace and touch a tree. Spend time listening to the sounds of the birds. Well, nature, in fact, has all answers for all the questions that we may be having in our mind in a given time. For me, personally, connecting to nature, spending time in nature, is like a prayer. It is a meditation. So I always encourage people, when they feel down, low energy, out of balance, to go and connect with Mother Nature. Because we are nature. Although we have forgotten about it, the problematic situations in life is actually a calling for us to consider, reconsider, reflect about who we really are. So that's on a side note as to what you can do in a situation and what is currently within your control that you can do to obtain your goals, to work towards your goals effectively. Most of the time, we have learned this belief maybe from our parents, maybe teachers, and through the socialization process. Once you set goals, you have to work hard. Haven't you believed like that? Aren't you believing like that even now? That to accomplish something great in life, you have to really work hard? Well, I believe otherwise. Of course, that belief came into my life because of NLP. From my childhood, from a country like Sri Lanka and the culture here, based on the culture here, even I grew up believing that in order to accomplish something significant, you got to work hard. Well, now I believe otherwise because I know better now about myself, about life. So I share those beliefs with others, whoever open and willing to learn. That belief is that life is not hard. We make it hard. And you can accomplish great things in life easily and effortlessly. Don't take me wrong. It doesn't mean that you sleep, you just have fun, you just only play, and you don't do anything towards your goals and outcomes and still accomplish. I'm not necessarily saying that. When time is required, when time comes, when it is required, you've got to take action towards your outcomes. No question about that. Now, I'm recording this video, but do I feel it's like an effort? Do I feel that I have to put a lot of effort and work hard? Not really. I just have to get my infrastructure ready and get dressed and have the idea in my mind and then enjoy my life. Work has to be fun. Work has to be a playful experience. Then you are not missing out anything in life. Isn't it a good thought for you to plant in the garden of your mind? Why don't you do that? Please consider doing it. But life is not hard. Life is easy. Just like anything in nature. It's beautiful. It's flowing like a river. It's like a cloud in the sky. It's blossoming like a flower. I just have to let go of the control of the things that I cannot control. But one thing certainly is within your control. That is what you think in your mind. Therefore, how you feel about yourself and a situation. And then comes the empowerment to take the right action. And you haven't felt like you are working hard to accomplish something, but you have been living your life. So, at the beginning, you are living your life very well. In the middle, you are living your life very well. And at the end, also, you are living your life very well. But most of us live life conditionally, isn't it? We want our goal, our gift so badly. We miss the present moment. We miss life. So we are drained in the journey of accomplishing things. That's what happened to that young Jaimini at that time. She accomplished so much and she got burnt out so fast. She did not know how to live her life. So she had so many accomplishments on her table. She was seen as a person who achieved anything and everything. Very egoistic, arrogant person, of course. But it burnt her out at an early age. Fortunately, she had a different belief installed within her, so she transformed that pain also into a purposeful journey. And her life was getting happier every day, no matter what. I remember at that time in my life, I was even physically a very sick person. Now, I'm pleased to say that I cannot remember a time that I have gone to a doctor or had taken any medication. And I am teaching that art to other people, how to use your own life force energy, your mind, your heart, your spirit, to heal your life. And when you do that, you're not only affecting your life, You're affecting everyone else connected to you, the whole world and the whole universe. You become a gift to this world. Isn't that a wonderful place to be in life? Yes, that's what I want you to have. So, the second question is all about finding out what is currently within your control that you can do something about in order to accomplish what specifically you want to accomplish. Let's move on to the third question. Third question is all about programming your neurology. That's right. This is an NLP tool. So in NLP, what we are doing is we are programming and reprogramming our mind, let's say, or our nervous system using different set of words that we speak and that we think. Neuro Linguistic Programming. We program our neurology using language. In a problem situation, we have a negative language. We speak negatively and we think negatively. Therefore, we program our life situation, the way we respond to the life situation, negatively. But when we have positive, empowering thoughts and we speak such thoughts, we influence our own neurology, thereby our programming or our behavior or action. So when we have positive actions, we're bound to get positive results. It's simple as that. It's like switching on a light or switching off a light, right? When we switch off, there's no light. We switch on, there's light. So the third question is, describe how specifically you will feel, see, and hear when you have achieved this goal. Describe how and what you will see, hear, and feel when you accomplish this goal. Now, this is about almost future pacing, as in you are in the present moment where you haven't really accomplished it yet, but in your mind, you're going to go like time travel. You're going into that future scenario and you get really associated with that experience of having that goal now. Ideally, you can answer this question after doing a little meditation, as in you close your eyes and really associate yourself in the future, in that moment of time where you have accomplished this goal. And you look around in your mind's eye as to what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you taste and smell. Essentially, the sensory experience, right? You're going to tap into, almost create that sensory experience that you might end up having in a future time, but you're doing it in your mind now. So your brain, let's say your subconscious mind, is getting a preview of your future scenario. I have noticed some people are quite good at this exercise, especially those daydreamers. Yeah. Have you met those people in your life? I have met, and I'm a dreamer too. I don't know about daydreaming, but I'm a dreamer. I'm a very visual person. Whatever the goal, objective, intentions, really conceptual, broad ideas I hold about life, philosophies, usually I think in terms of images, like pictures. So it's very easy for me personally to visualize what I want as an image, like a movie in my mind. Of course, I've noticed some people have not developed that capacity in their brain, but that's not a weakness. Let me highlight it here. There are people who are good in just having a clear story in their head. They can almost hear that voice in their head about the great accomplishment that they're going to have in the future. So we usually call them as auditory people. So they are mostly oriented towards receiving data from outside auditory, like hearing, verbally. Also, they are thinking also in terms of words rather than images. And there's another category of people. They are also not necessarily having clear visual images about their future. They have an idea about their future, what they want to accomplish. Not a very clear image, but they feel good about it in the now. Let's say I want to become a billionaire, and I don't have a mental image about what it means to become a billionaire. Of course, maybe I have seen videos, movies, current billionaires, their lifestyles on TV screens and social media. So I have an idea about how a billionaire would look like, walk like, eat like. Maybe I have an idea about it, but perhaps I have not associated a billionaire in person. So if that is the case, I might not have a very clear idea, me living a life like a billionaire. But I might have, or you might have, a feeling, a feel-good factor as you think that idea, right? When you think about your future goal that you want to accomplish, you feel good in your heart. Maybe you feel good in your stomach, your gut. Or maybe you feel so wonderful in your whole body. So those people we call in NLP as kinesthetic people. They are very much feeling oriented. They feel rights and wrongs, right? And they're connected with their feelings in their body. Not necessarily the emotions, but the sensations in their body. So let's say when you answer this question, right, you might have clear images coming into your mind about your future goal. Or you can have a feel-good factor in your heart, in your gut. Or you may hear some voice, maybe your own voice, congratulating, saying, well done, you did it. Or you may be hearing a voice of one of your loved ones or someone you look up to, maybe your coach, maybe your spouse, mother, father, a great friend. Or if you believe in a God or a divine entity, you're hearing their voice of appreciation and they're congratulating you for your accomplishment. Essentially, you got to find out, you got to future pace, go and associate with that future scenario where you have accomplished your goal, and you got to write down how you feel, what you see, what you hear, and even what you taste and smell. Like maybe you feel so good and you taste and smell the goodness of life, right? Isn't that a wonderful exercise for you to do? I would love to do it even with my family, friends, and whoever directly connected with my vision. I used to do that in my life. So I encourage you to invite, especially your loved ones, maybe even your coach and a mentor and a close associate who you truly trust and look up to, and especially those people who always motivate you, who always believe in you, and those people who always encourage no matter what. They believe that you are magic, right? Maybe you don't see that in you, but they see you as a magician and a great human being with great potential. So if you're gifted with such people in your life, please encourage them to share your vision in a way that they can help you visualize what you want to accomplish, right? So let's move on to the next question. That is question number 3. So when, where, and how specifically do you want to have this? When, where, and how specifically will you have this? So this is more logical thinking. Now your feet once again on the ground, of course head high in the clouds, but your feet fully on the ground. Now realistically you are thinking, right, So when am I going to accomplish? In 3 years' time, 2 years' time, 6 months' time, 1 month time? It's up to you. You know now logically or even intuitively how long it would take for you to accomplish your goal. Then you also will find out where specifically I'm going to accomplish this. Is it that in your own mother country, motherland, in your hometown, or do you see yourself in an international level, in a different country, right? And also how specifically you are going to accomplish this. These questions, especially when and where is specific, how specifically can be a little challenging for some of you, because if you haven't given enough detailed thought about your goal, you might not be able to answer that question easily. To start off, this is what I suggest people to do. How specifically, when you answer like how specifically are you going to achieve this, you might give like a tentative set of milestone towards your goal. Say to become a billionaire. You know, there are many paths to become a billionaire. You can even actually get into a large organization in the world, a prestigious job, and work your way towards in the ladder up and build up your profile and then accomplish something significant on your own. Maybe you want to create something new in life. You feel you are an inventor. Maybe you are an entrepreneur having like brilliant business ideas. Maybe you want to sell those business ideas or select a particular business idea and work on it. I remember when I was doing a paid job before I became a coach. I was in the corporate world. I was doing a really good job. I was paid well. In fact, I was headhunted and taken for that position at that time. I was not very happy. I always knew I'm a free soul. I have something unique to give to this world. And I always had that spiritual calling to find out life's purpose, to be fully liberated. We call it enlightenment, right? To find truth about life. How much ever there were opportunities and potential for me to earn money or just work up the career ladder and to be famous and all that stuff, I never took those opportunities. I didn't want to go on those paths because I knew my values clarified at an early age. So I did something completely different, what an average young woman would do in our culture, in a country like Sri Lanka. And I created my own path, so to say. I did not even go on someone else's path. I created my own. And of course, many others started following. And that's because I'm a free soul. I feel I'm completely a free being. And then I'm here to make sense out of stuff, and I'm here to co-create things. So, therefore, my business decisions were almost all the time very intuitive. Therefore, I was mostly a very playful person when it comes to business. I was not afraid to invest. I was not afraid to get into new projects because I'm not afraid of losing. And actually, one time in my life, especially in 2019, I gave up everything. I gave up almost like everything. And I got into a completely a spiritual life. I know, maybe you find it hard to believe, but that's the truth. I gave up my business. I gave up everything. I almost became like a monk, so to say. And I loved that life. I really enjoyed living so freely, not being attached to anything or not trying to accomplish anything. So of course, last 3 years was wonderful, and then now I understand I can bring a balance and live in balance almost all the time. So I'm not essentially attached to anything worldly, no, to anything spiritual. I'm free from both dualities as well. So yeah, I do share my experiences with you, because then you can relate to what I'm saying rather than just technically going through this session. You know me person, so then you can learn something from my experiences. Hence I share my life story as well. I hope you appreciate it. Right, so let's move on to the next question. Question number 5. That is, what are the steps you will take to obtain your goal? What are the steps? Now, it is now again a question that you got to answer more logically, analytically, critically evaluating your current situations. So we are engaging our conscious, logical reasoning mind. So this is about coming up with a plan, a timeline. At least, let's say, the first 5 steps logically that you can think in this moment. Write it down. You don't need to take a whole lot of time when you go through these questions to answer them. Initially, you answer them then and there. Later on, with that answer, the next level of awareness will evolve. That's what I guide people to do. Right? So please come up with at least the first 5 steps that you see logically that you got to do in order to get to that big goal, big dream. The next question is, what resources do I require to obtain this? What resources? Here the resources means both physical and non-physical, as in tangible and intangible. Mental, physical, emotional, social, financial resources that you can think of now in this moment when you answer this question, right? All those resources including time, energy, social support, new knowledge, right? Money. Sometimes we need the initial capital or funding. So again, about my story of getting into NLP, at that time when I learned NLP, I spent quite a big amount of money to learn NLP and to become a practitioner. And at that very moment when I was planning to go overseas to get this certification, I was jobless. Although I was doing a great job, really well paid job, I did not feel I was belonging there, so I quit that job overnight. And then the depression was affecting me. I was getting sick, physically really a sick person. And I was really in a mess. Now, I didn't have money, but I was determined that I am going to learn this subject. And of course, from those particular trainers from Australia, spending that money, so I have decided who gonna be my teachers. I felt that rapport and connection. So there was no logic. There was no logic that I could spend that money at that time to learn that subject. But I was just living as if I'm learning. Guess what? Money came my way in surprisingly safe and healthy ways. People were willing to, of course, my loved ones, my family. Somewhere they believed in me with all my mess. And of course, it came to me without me even asking for it. It came in a very surprising ways. Not that the families could afford everything for me. Even they received funds and they decided to share. So I had the investment to take up coaching, take up the training. Coming back to Sri Lanka, the 3 years goal to become a coach manifested less than 3 months. I ended up, of course, earning the money I spent. The return on investment was fully achieved by, let's say, less than 6 months. Then I had enough money to spend for the next level of certification, the next level of qualifications, and then the whole expansion of business and personal growth kept happening, right? So yes, so you got to find out, list down all the resources you require, including social support, emotional support, time, energy, all that you can think of that is essential for you to accomplish your goals. The next question is, what resources do you already have that is already within you, or you already have access to, that can help you accomplish your goal? Resources you already have. So make a list of those resources. Say, maybe you have the knowledge already. You have the technical knowledge, so that's a resource. Maybe you are a person who has, enough time. You have time. You are lucky enough to have time, and maybe you are in good health and you have enough energy. Or maybe some of you are gifted and really lucky to have wonderful people in your life. So write down all those things that is already there in your life as resources and that you can effectively use to get where you want to go. The next question is very, very important. Question number 8 is a game changer. Now, all these questions being answered, this is a game-changing question. Ready to hear that? Yeah. That is, how will you know that you have accomplished your goal? What is your evidence of having accomplished the dream, the goal? How will you know that you have accomplished? Is it that your name appearing on the newspapers, or you can see you on a famous TV show? Or is it a case where you look at your bank account and that amount of money is in your account? Is it the evidence that the first client paying you that amount of money, like it's a check or a transfer of cryptocurrencies? Right? Do you see that amount of coins in your wallet? What is the evidence you having accomplished that goal? The real evidence, but most of the time that evidence that you will see. So write it down. This is a game changer. I tell you, you'll be able to think of the biggest evidence that confirms to you now, right, about that future goal. Write it down. Usually it's just a one statement. And the last question is again a game changer. And you got to pay attention to the rest of the session. Really, now you have done very well all this time by paying attention, making notes, and engaging with me mentally, emotionally, and energetically. Thank you. Well done. The last one is also very important, and it's perhaps the most important thing as well. As much as the number 1 question was important, question number 9 is also very important. In that question, we help you to find out if there are any area of your life or any person perhaps in your life or group of people could get affected negatively as a result of you accomplishing this goal. Alright? This we call in NLP as ecology test. Ecology test. We are checking the echo. Let's say there's a wall in front of us and this wall is echoing, and I scream. We scream. Together scream and say, I hate you. So if we say I hate you, we're going to hear the same, right? And let's say we scream and say I love you. We are going to hear those words. So similarly, we use this concept called ecology in the subject of NLP, to help people who are working towards their goals, dreams, and outcomes to find out if there are any imbalances that might be caused as a result of taking that decision of achieving something significant. Because what will happen is you might start working towards that goal, and there can be other people and areas of life which are sort of negatively affected because of certain beliefs you hold about yourself and life. Maybe, let's say, someone is really wanting to earn money, but deep inside they believe money is evil or money is hard to come, right? Money is difficult. Money is the root cause of all evil. Like in the subconscious mind, in our first session, we understood that idea that subconscious mind is more than 90%, right? So, and especially I've noticed with my years of practice working with both men and women, when it comes to women, and especially women who are super achievement oriented and want to accomplish something great in their life, get into business, even academically become successful, they are also mothers and wives, a lover of someone else, right? So women most of the time get stuck in that so-called glass ceiling where they feel like, if I accomplish something big in terms of money and become a great businesswoman or become famous, my husband might leave me, or my children will suffer because I'm gonna be busy, right? My family and friends will not like me for who I am now. They are happy with the current over-devouring mother, right? So if you have such beliefs somewhere back, they are hidden, they are not very conscious, they don't come into the surface when we set goals because we are very motivated to accomplish something. Imagine a situation if you have such limiting beliefs about yourself and your life. There's always a very high chance that you will face all these stumbling blocks on the way and might not even achieve what you want to achieve and end up actually going through a very vicious cycle of self-sabotage and completely even give up hopes for the future and might end up even feeling depressed and resentful and even extremely sick and ill because you are naturally meant to have great things in life, but there's a part of you resisting it. So the question number 9 is very important. You answer with a super solid yes. So let me read out the questions for you. Does this outcome fit in your life and have no consequences to yourself or others that would be harmful or painful? Does this outcome fit in your life and have no consequences to yourself or others that would be harmful or painful? So it's a double-binded question, so you got to essentially have a very solid, congruent answer yes to this question number 9. It does fit into my life and there's no negative consequences. Yes. So imagine it's a situation where you have the answer no coming because somewhere it's not a big yes, it's rather a no. We as coaches kindly encourage you to revise your goal once again. If your ecology test fails here, we encourage you to revise your goal setting process once again. And this is where you need the support and guidance from a qualified coach. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as you enjoyed the knowledge sharing number 1. If you have not watched that video yet, please go and visit and go through the knowledge sharing session number 1 because it creates the foundational knowledge in order for you to understand this content in a much more solid and a structured way. I wish you all the very best in the process of accomplishing your dreams, goals, and objectives. I sincerely want to see that you are succeeding in your life and become a very happy, healthy, abundant, benevolent, purposeful human being. Thank you for connecting. Jai Shri.